was so contained in that bizarre world of hallucinations and loneliness and cold and death. I didn't know where I was. I knew someone was there. It was all very confusing because I'd been living in a very intense world of being alone and coping with that, and suddenly there were other people who'd come from somewhere.
Leading one of the very last climbing parties of the season, Everest guide Dan Mazur has found Lincoln by chance.
That was actually the last day that there was anyone else on the mountain. Those four final climbers would have been expecting to step over my dead body.
Can you tell me, man? He had this really kind of wide-eyed, very gaunt look in his face. He was not in good shape, you know, and 28,000 feet, you know, the human body is very fragile.
Severely hypothermic and delirious from the swelling in his brain, it may already be too late to save Lincoln.
He kept looking at us and saying, "Oh, this is a brilliant boat ride we're on. What a brilliant weather for a cruise."
Dan recognizes the deadly symptoms of cerebral edema. He gives Lincoln oxygen to help alleviate the pressure from his brain, and chocolate to raise his blood sugar levels.
Suddenly, I was in the real world. I just didn't remember what happened.
Lincoln is pulled back from the brink of death.
Dan Mazur, on 7 Summit, team, over.
This is 7 Summit, Dan, go ahead, over.
We suddenly heard a guide's voice come on the radio.
You have somebody called Lincoln Hall with your team.
Lincoln died? He died last night. Over.
He's alive.
You're kidding me.
It was pretty amazing. We were still in a state of shock. We hadn't really taken in Lincoln's death, really, to be honest. And now we had this extra news to take in that Lincoln wasn't dead.
A team of Sherpas is quickly mobilized to rescue Lincoln. But they're 4 hours away, and Lincoln has already slipped back into a delirious state.
You can slip away into unconsciousness and coma and death extremely rapidly up there.
I was hallucinating madly.
He turns on those trying to save him.
He fought us. He took off his oxygen mask, ripped it off.
I was trying to go back up the mountain. In fact, I was on the edge of death.
Near the summit of Mount Everest, Lincoln Hall is delirious and attacking the people who are trying to save his life. Finally, 2 Sherpas arrive from camp to try and bring him down. Already exhausted from a 4-hour ascent, Lincoln's life is now in their hands.
The Sherpas had no idea of how fragile I was. I could only get half a dozen steps before I had to collapse in the snow.
The Sherpas must now get Lincoln down 7,000 feet. As another night falls, and Lincoln's progress is painfully slow, the Sherpas know that their lives are now also on the line.
I was saying we have to go more slowly. And they were saying, no, you have to go fast.
They push Lincoln hard.
They were prepared to do anything to get me off the mountain. I could tell from the tone of their voices that they were tired and exhausted and they didn't want to be there.
"10 hours since the start of the rescue, Lincoln is losing his battle with hypothermia and cerebral edema. Lincoln finally gives up.
I was able to go no further.
Barely conscious, the Sherpas push Lincoln on.
The only thing I could do was just to hold on to my commitment to find a way through this. I just had to be able to keep walking, to stay alive. But I was going to do it. I was going to get back so I could get home.
We're close, Lincoln. We're close.
I came around a slight crest in the slope. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to survive. It was just a flood of relief. But I didn't have any energy left for jubilation.
Lincoln? Lincoln's voice was so hoarse, I couldn't believe it was him.
And then she knew it was me. And that was just the most wonderful moment. I came so close to destroying the family that I love so much that I vowed that I would never let anything like this ever happen again.
At great personal risk, the Sherpas saved Lincoln's life.
I really wanted them to know that they'd saved my life and that I would be forever grateful.
Lincoln recovered, but lost the tips of his fingers and a toe to frostbite. He still rock climbs, but has no plans to attempt any more major peaks. Doctors have yet to understand how he survived so long with so little oxygen and without shelter in Everest's death zone.